So, I'm your host, Dr. Els,
And I'm Gerard Smith.
and today we are, I guess, kind of in mourning. We're on the local Savannah comedy scene. We're losing another very prominent figure.
Yeah, Melanie Goldie is moving to Atlanta.
Yeah, she is going through the Savannah comedian metamorphosis. She's in the final stage, which consists of coming out of that cocoon and emerging as an Atlanta comedian.
Yeah,
So,
yeah, we've seen it happen a lot. So it's only a matter of time.
yeah, yeah, and we're very happy for all of the comedians who have moved to Atlanta and try to further their career and everything.
Yeah.
So shout out to them, and Melanie is definitely gonna be missed. She's been like a very prominent figure on the scene, and for a long time.
Yeah, yeah. The very first open mic I ever did, uh, she was hosting. I remember going up to her and just saying, I want to try stand up, and she was very encouraging, about putting my name on the list and everything. You know, it's made me feel as comfortable as I could in that moment. I mean, there's no taking, you can't completely take nerves away. Stand up comedy for the first time, but yeah, I just remember being very welcoming. So yeah, we have performed together a lot of different shows. So, yeah, it's been down a long comedy road together.
Yeah, yeah. So what year was that? What was your first year doing comedy? Do you remember?
That was 2013.
Wow.
Yeah. That was November 2013. So this November will mark a full decade of stand-up comedy for me.
Yeah, and yeah, that's major.
Yeah.
So man, I think mine was like 2015, like December of 2015. Yeah, yeah, it was 2015.
Yeah, because that's like I figured I knew that we had started working together sometime probably like 2016.
Yeah,
When we started doing stuff. I'm pretty sure our first 48 was 2016.
yep,
Yeah.
yep. Yeah, and the 48-hour film festival is coming up very soon. Also,
Yeah.
that's like right around the corner. So all of you Savannah locals, if you are down to see the best that your local filmmakers have to offer within 2 days,
Yeah.
then go check out the Savannah 48-hour film festival. It's very interesting. It's a very dope show.
Yeah. Here's the thing: if you ever see me around town, like on a day like today, and you think I look very tired, wait till you see me after doing a 48-hour film. Right? That is whole new level of tired that you're gonna see from me. Right? It's like I'm tired right now, but 48 is something completely different. That is 48 hours where within that period I usually get a total of maybe 6 hours of sleep, I think, the entire time.
Yeah, total.
Yeah.
Like out of the whole 48 hours.
Yeah.
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 Yeah, it's a very intense experience. You got like basically they start a clock and you got to count down from 48 hours to shoot, and edit and complete an entire film.
Yeah.
And mistakes are usually made. The shortcuts are taken.
Yeah.
But you have fun.
Yeah.
It's interesting. The show is very you get to see how creative people can be on a short timeline.
Yeah.
It's like just make a decision.
Yeah.
We're just gonna run with it. I'm just gonna make it happen. And
Yeah, you see a bunch of the Quentin Tarantino style of the gun went off too early. Now leave it in there.
Yeah.
People will be asking about it for years. Who shot nice guy Eddie?
So yeah, Melanie was in a few of our films also, and it's always been a pleasure working with her. Um, there was definitely a lot that she had to go through. You see a lot of the sexism and everything in
Yeah,
a male dominated I guess sport like comedy
yeah,
or like anything, and it's I saw a lot of the challenges she had to deal with that, and nobody's perfect at the end of the day. uh, Sometimes men can have our blinders on to certain things,
yeah, yeah.
and
Because even I'll admit, like when the issue of sexism in the comedy scene first came out, I was initially of the opinion, no, people imagining it. No, there's no sexism. We're not sexist. We don't hate women. And like, of course, like because immediately you go to the most extreme version of things. Like it's almost
yeah,
like when you tell somebody, uh, you start talking about racism. It's like, no, I'm not racist. I don't hate black people. And it's like it's not
I
about.
haven't burned the cross on
Yeah,
anybody's
yeah,
lawn.
yeah. It's not always about doing the most extreme thing.
Yeah,
Sometimes
it's
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 just
usually the little
the
stuff
little stuff. Yeah,
that builds up and adds up.
yeah, and I feel like Melanie definitely kind of led the charge, and a few other women in the scene helped kind of open my eyes up a little bit. I started seeing things a little bit different,
Yeah,
and when I started knowing what to look for, I started seeing things that I didn't see before.
yeah, and that's the thing. Well, Leo isn't here today. She's working on the Rich and Rooted radio show, which you all can listen to Tuesdays at 7 p.m. on WRUU.
Yep.
There's a little plug there, but so we're gonna just talk to the fellas today
Yeah,
about
fellas, get it together.
yeah.
Right?
Like there's nothing wrong with, like, we're not trying to, like, oh, you guys,
we're not
women, blah, blah, like
we're
it's
not Derek Jackson in it
yeah,
right now.
we're
Right?
not gonna Derek Jackson you guys, but it's like, look, it's okay to listen sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Sometimes.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, you can just listen sometimes to some of the stuff. Like, try to take some. It's not all made up.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Like, yeah, everybody complains about some stuff that can be overblown sometimes, but sometimes it's not. So
Yeah, because I think for me, what initially made me not, or I guess kind of be in denial about sexism in the scene, was there were some, women in the scene who would complain about the opportunities that they weren't getting, and some of them had put in very little effort to earn any opportunities. So when I would hear them complaining, I would say, look, I would just kind of look at them like, this isn't sexism. You haven't you haven't put in the work yet. Like you can't come to open mics every week unprepared with no material and then expect to get booked on the show. So at first that was kind of like what I was just seeing. So when I heard people saying, "Oh, sexism in the scene," I was like, "Oh, these women who want to get booked who haven't prepared any material." Like, no, that's not sexism. But then I had to start looking close at other things, like the woman who came into the scene and immediately were being hit on, or the women who maybe did hook up with a guy and then when they stop hooking up with him, next thing you know, their names being thrown through the dirt, or
yeah,
women who just outright refuse to talk to a certain guy, and next thing you know, he's trying to tell everybody that she's not funny and she shouldn't get booked on shows, and you start seeing things like that, and you're like, okay, that's where it's coming from. That
yeah,
is, and then you got some of the extreme issues which we're not going to go into.
yeah. There was a lot of
Crazy stuff that
yeah,
happened.
very lot of Me Too related issues
Yeah.
that happened.
Yeah.
There's some people got hashtag Me Too'd, and rightfully so.
Yeah.
And what I can say is, when that all came out, I think we all did a pretty good job of coming together as a comedy community and kind of sitting everybody down and getting to the bottom of what happened with everything, and like on both sides. And to the male credit, and that he did kind of admit to being at fault, and took responsibility and moved on.
Yeah.
I mean, what else can you do in a situation like that?
Yeah.
It's that, I guess that's kind of another interesting end of the conversation. It's like when you see somebody like I don't know, like Louis C.K., who has had all of this, doing the beating in front of in front of hostages, I guess you would say, a captive audience.
Yeah.
You know, something like that. How, and then he, I guess he just won a Grammy for his
Louis C.K.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
He won
right,
a Grammy for
yeah.
his comedy album.
Yeah.
Like recently.
Yeah.
So, but then it's like, I don't know, are we okay with that? Like, what is there a statute of limitations on being canceled? Like, what? I don't know. Like, if he, what do we expect for him to do in order to be able to? Should we just say he can never work again, or what? Like, what is the?
Yeah, I don't know. I honestly feel like that is one of those things where I think everybody just has to kind of make their own individual decision about that one.
Yeah. I mean, and your decision has to be something that you are willing to live with. You know.
Do you want to still listen to his stuff and support him or not? I feel like I don't think there's really any like. There's not gonna be any like necessarily large scale effort to keep him out of anything. It's just more, it's going to be up to each individual.
Yeah.
Like, some people decide, hey, we want to do stuff with them, and other people decide, now we don't want to use them or do anything with them. And
yeah, I mean, he's clearly not blacklisted.
Yeah.
But I mean, he's kind of been cooking on his own anyway.
Yeah, yeah, because like, I mean, at the same, you don't see Louis the TV show on anywhere.
Yeah. And I mean, that was like huge.
Yeah.
When he's kind of like the stand-up R. Kelly, because he was insanely influential, was like the mega superstar of that era, and now it's like you can't really talk about him.
Yeah.
It's I don't know. It's kind of strange because look at the trends he started. Like, he originated doing like the streaming specials, like the self-release specials. He was the first one to do that.
Yeah.
And now everybody's getting the streaming deals and stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it's commonplace now. But I don't know. It's and then everything he did with the shows, like the Louis, and having that type of show, like with that vibe. You see a lot of people going with that formula now.
Yeah.
And it's really like an R. Kelly situation. Like, he's hella influential, but I can't. I just can't.
Yeah.
That Yeah. It's a bad taste in your mouth talking about him. You know. But even with the R. Kelly situation, like, we're about the same age. We remember the R. Kelly heyday.
Yeah.
Okay. And I'm like, I spent a lot of time in Chicago growing up too. So, like, even before the tape came out, people up there knew about R. Kelly.
Yeah.
Like, I would hear my aunts and stuff talking about, R. Kelly was at the school today. sitting outside trying to pick up little girls, and this was known around the
Yeah.
city. Like it was open. It was like an open secret.
Yeah.
But he had enough money to pay people off, make people look the other way, and which is sad because it's like people were it wasn't just him alone. It was a network of people that were covering for him.
Yeah.
And that's really where it kind of, I guess, the whole cancel culture thing kind of played in, because once people stopped going to his shows and stopped supporting him financially, and he stopped really making money, he couldn't afford to keep paying all those people off.
Yeah.
And that when once that money stopped rolling in for those people, they started telling. That's literally what happened. So the moral of the story is cancel culture kind of works. As long as you cut people's money off and they can't, pay people to look the other way for,
yeah,
you know, uh, abusing little girls and boys, and it was boys too. And that's what else was crazy about it. There's a lot of, I guess, crime that men can get away with when you're rich. I guess like people will just look the other way because you're rich. I mean, it couldn't get much more blatant than R. Kelly did. I mean, he was like on camera, like face in the camera, like.
Yeah, I mean, he is one of his early well-known examples was with another celebrity. It was somebody that everybody knew who she was. Like people knew Aaliyah.
Yeah. And then like looking at the album, it's like, man, like he really wasn't trying to hide this.
Yeah.
Like age ain't nothing but a number.
Yeah.
Like wow.
Yeah.
And I don't know, man. That people will talk about like you hear a lot of guys talk about, oh, R. Kelly, this and that. He's a legend. He, you got to separate the art from the artist and all of this and that. But I watched that Surviving R. Kelly, and that was some crazy stuff. That stuff was out of control. He was a wild dude. Like just listening to some of the stories behind some of the songs, like the little girls that were involved in that, it's like, man, like I can't unhear that now.
Yeah.
Like I can't go back and listen to, and it's like for people from our era, that was such like R. Kelly was like the soundtrack for a lot of our stuff growing up.
Elementary school graduation. Our entire 5th grade class saying, "I believe I can fly."
Yeah. I mean, let me see. There was that. There was of course Down Low. All of the Ronald Isley songs. Like you could still throw those on, and every black person will just go into a battle singing every part of it word for word, back and forth.
I know.
Contagious.
Yeah, I was gonna say somebody put something up on Facebook one day, and it was just a bunch of stick figure drawings. And the first one was like a guy walking into a room, and there's like 2 stick figures on the bed. And then then the next panel is a stick figure woman. She's saying something to the guy, and the next panel he's got like his cane, and then like the real ones know. And I was like, the lyrics in my head. I was like, yeah, I know exactly what's going on right now. I'm hearing every part right now.
Yep. You don't even need to see, like they can do it with stick figures. You still know it.
Yeah.
But I mean, it was a classic era, man, and it's just
Trapped in the Closet. Like,
yeah. Man, like TP2.com, man, like the amount of crazy stuff that was happening in like high school and middle school and on the buses and all of that.
Yeah.
With that as the soundtrack.
Yeah.
That, ugh, You can't really
Yeah.
go back and play now because he was probably doing the same thing to girls that age.
Yeah.
But uh, it's kind of weird just being from air and having like a whole aspect of your childhood that you can't, like, you're forbidden from looking back on, you know. And I think that's kind of what some people are pushing back on a little bit, but you got to realize like there's a lot of like crazy hurt behind like the making of some of this stuff.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of people were really, really hurt, extremely bad, like behind the scenes of a lot of this stuff, and that inspired a lot of this stuff. You
Yeah.
know, so it puts a different kind of flavor in your mouth about it, like just hearing the stories from the actual victims behind it. You know, so
Yeah.
it's hard to separate the art from the artist with stuff like that.
Yeah.
I mean, if you can though, whatever, more power to you.
Yeah. So one thing that has always been I know difficult for me is I guess on the same aspect of you trying to separate art from artists. One of my favorite wrestlers when he was alive was Chris Benoit.
Yeah, yeah.
And the thing is, I think what one thing that makes him different, his example is different from people like R. Kelly and Bill Cosby and Louis C.K. is like the horrible thing that he did not do while he was wrestling.
Yeah.
So then it becomes like well, if I'm watching his matches, that's not who he was when he was wrestling. That
Yeah.
like he did that for whatever reason, something I don't broke in him and he snapped, and I'm not trying to excuse it, not trying to it's not like I'm trying to be like, oh well, it wasn't his fault that he went crazy, or like, I mean, I don't know.
I can't speak on
Yeah,
that. I don't know.
yeah,
like,
it's like
yeah.
they did say that his brain. They looked at his brain; it was very
Yeah.
messed up.
Yeah.
But yeah, so it's like, and the thing is, well, you can't even really go and watch Chris Benoit matches, uh, unless you like go to like some really obscure place to find it.
Yeah.
But WWE is not showing any of his stuff. They don't mention him.
Yeah.
They act like he never existed.
And that's, it's a tightrope for them to walk,
Yeah.
because if they did show it, you'd have people protesting like,
Yeah.
oh, are y'all glorifying what he did?
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
like, I mean, uh, it's I don't envy that, being in that position.
Yeah, it's like I don't blame WWE for like
Yeah.
just taking them off of everything, but at the same time, it's just as somebody who was such a big fan of him as a wrestler, it's one of those things like I don't want to sit there and be like, well, I just want to watch this match and enjoy it again. But at the same time, it's just like, I mean, but can I enjoy it if he wasn't?
Yeah.
if at the time that he was wrestling, he wasn't a monster.
Yeah, like it's hard seeing people you look up to and that made stuff that you really enjoyed.
Yeah.
Seeing them do something just so horrible, and then it's like, man, like, can I seriously can't enjoy what they did back then anymore.
Yeah.
Like, I can't even. That's it doesn't it kind of doesn't seem fair.
Yeah. Exactly.
Like, I don't. I'm not supporting him doing that. I just wanted to watch this.
Yeah, I mean, God forbid that some dirt comes out on like Outcasts or something.
Oh
Like,
man,
I can't lose all my Outcast albums, man. Like
yeah, like it comes out like Andre 3000's torturing women and all of this stuff, and you hear that you gotta listen back to So Fresh and So Clean.
Yeah.
He's like Rick James in chains and whips.
Yeah,
Like it's like he was telling us the whole time. Like, no, I can't listen to So Fresh and So Clean. He was talking about how he got off So Fresh and So Clean.
Oh man, I never even put that together. That line, Rick James, chains and whips.
Yeah.
Cause I know the whole
the Rick James story.
I know like the part of his story that people don't talk about. Also,
Yeah.
so yeah, I never even thought about that when I heard that line. It just never occurred to me till just
Yeah.
now.
Yeah. Because Andre is just that dope.
Yeah.
But if you don't know about the Rick James story, he basically like him and his girlfriend, I think,
Yeah.
kept a woman hostage
Yeah.
and like just tortured and abused her for like days.
Yeah. Because they thought she stole like either money or drugs from them or something like that.
Yeah.
And they were high the entire time.
Yeah. It was a lot of Rick James stuff involved.
Yeah.
But I don't know. There you also have some artists that are kind of impervious to being canceled, like Rick James, for example. um, Kodak Black. He can. Kodak Black has just been out here wilding.
Mm.
You know, NBA YoungBoy.
Yeah, Kanye West.
Oh yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know. Like I'm personally done with Kanye.
Yeah.
Like I never thought I would ever say that.
Yeah,
like
but there are, and the thing is, there are some people who
yeah,
they will defend him no matter what he
yeah.
says.
I was there up to a certain point. You remember my Kanye joke I used to do, like, but I won't even do that anymore. Like I'm like, man, I gotta throw this Kanye joke away now.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, as a man, for all you men listening, you gotta have something that you stand on, like a line, like a personal line. You know, everybody's line is gonna be different. I'm not saying your line should be the same as mine, but you gotta have a line.
Yeah.
You know, like if like what are you letting slide and what are you okay with? You know, where do you put your foot down? Like, nah, like I'm not cool with that. Like I can't rock with that at all.
Yeah.
You know, you gotta have some kind of line.
Yeah.
And it's not about cancel culture or nothing. It's about you just having a personal line that you just are not gonna cross. Like, no, I'm not with that at all.
Yeah. Yeah, I think there have been a couple, like I don't like drama. I don't like, I don't like having enemies, or or even like not even necessarily have to be enemies, just having like a situation where you have to like
Yeah, confrontation.
yeah, that is having to confront somebody. I really hate doing that, but yeah, there have been a few situations like really over the past like few years where a couple times I feel like I've had to kind of like step in and say something to somebody, or even like just physically step. Sometimes you just physically even have to just step in between.
Yeah.
To people, like just put yourself in between this person and this person. Say, hey, but no, like this isn't okay. Yeah, and that is especially difficult for me to do because I am like 5'2" at most, and I am like probably under 120 pounds. Like I'm 120 at like my heaviest. So
soaking wet.
Yes.
Fighting weight.
Yeah. Yeah. So yeah, for me getting physically involved is definitely not something that I'm
it's not high on the list of things
yeah,
to do.
like I'm not cocky about it. I mean, no, don't get me wrong, I'm also not a whole lot of guys like scare me, like physically, even they're bigger than me, but at the same time I'm realistic. I know like me stepping in and saying, hey, like you need to stop or step aside is not going to make somebody stop, most likely.
Yeah.
Unless they just out of respect for me decide they're going to stop.
Yeah.
But it's not someone going to look at me, but oh, I don't want to fight this guy. I'm not scared to fight.
Sorry, sir.
Yeah, it's like I'm not scared to fight, but at the same time I
know your limitations.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that's what else comes with it too, because you gotta be cautious about how you step into certain situations, and you know, don't put yourself in danger purposely.
Yeah. Yeah.
But still, like we said, you gotta have a line that you stand on.
Yeah.
Because for example, let's look at the incident in Chicago in the restaurant with the guy that was punching the mother.
Yeah.
He was upset about something, and she refused to stop talking, I guess, and that made him feel like he needed to repeatedly like hammer her face in.
Yeah.
And what the reason why we say, it's important for as a man for you to have like a boundary. How many men were in there that just stood there and watched that happen?
Yeah. Yeah.
Like that's and look what ended up happening. The 14-year-old boy came in there and ended up, doing taking things to the next logical level.
Yeah.
He's 14, he's not gonna fight a grown man.
Yeah, I feel like if
It's like in the words of the great Easy E, in
yeah,
words my height don't fight.
yeah. So who who was videotaping it? Was it if it was it a man or a woman?
I don't know. I mean, does it matter at
Yeah.
this point?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I guess
That
it
we
doesn't really
see there
matter.
were other men in there.
Yeah, I was gonna say yeah, because yeah, yeah,
There was enough people.
yeah.
Somebody could have
Yeah,
stepped up and said something like, "Hey, don't hammer this woman's face in
yeah.
for talking."
After the first punch, it should have been
Yeah,
like hey, that's enough. Like
yeah. Everybody got concerned when
yeah,
the shots started ringing out.
yeah,
Like that's now everybody's concerned.
yeah.
Like, it shouldn't have escalated that far. That's why you gotta have lines. Because if you don't have lines, things are gonna get out of
Yeah.
control.
It fucking yeah, like what I said about those times when I felt like I actually did have to step in and say something or step in between people. It was always when it was a man and a woman, and I kind of felt like, hey, this is you got a huge physical advantage over her.
Yeah,
Just like how about you walk away from this because this is not a fair fight.
yeah. And I've seen some terrible takes from men over this whole situation with the shooting. They were like, oh, they're uh, everybody's celebrating that this they were able to get away with killing this man, and it just shows how worthless the black male life is. And
Yeah.
it's terrible. It's like if the situation was reversed, if she was beating on him, then no, like he wouldn't be able to shoot her. And it's like, would she be able to hit him with the force he was hitting her with?
Yeah.
Like, did you see those blows?
Yeah.
Like, y'all are the same type of dudes that'll talk about how women don't deserve to be working men's jobs because they're weaker. And
Yeah.
it's like you can't have it both ways.
Yeah.
Like, oh, she flailed at me, so I shot her.
Yeah, that'll be the first let a male to female transgender athlete transition. They're like, it's an unfair
Yeah,
advantage.
yeah. They're all about
they'll,
that.
they'll speak up on that.
Yeah. When
Yeah.
it comes to keeping transgender athletes out of women's sports, they're very vocal about the differences between male and female strength.
Yeah.
But, situations like that, I don't know. That's another thing, man. We got to be consistent, ideologically consistent. Okay? It'll cut down a lot of confusion in your life if you're consistent across the board. And look, nobody's perfect, but you got to be able to do the work in yourself to notice your faults.
Yeah.
And, do the work yourself to correct it. Because, I mean, you're not hurting anybody but yourself. Like, you're not hurting you're really not hurting transgender people by going on social media and making posts about how much they don't deserve whatever they're trying to do. That's not hurting them. That's just making you look like somebody people don't want to deal with. You know, like it's costing you.
Yep.
So, you know, like you got to do that work yourself. And it's like, maybe take a look inside and like, why do I care so passionately about this? You know, why am I spending so much time talking about these people who I supposedly hate so much?
Like I was like, I've never even watched UFC. Why do I
Yeah.
care? There is.
I'm not a fan of women swimming.
Yeah.
I don't even know like another like female swimmer's name.
The only male swimmer's name I know is Michael Phelps. I don't know any like even
Yeah.
the men. I don't know yeah.
Like why is this such an issue to me? But I don't know. It's you gotta be able to have your own moral compass and be consistent with it. And that really just comes with, you know, protect your family and let people live. If nobody's directly doing anything to you and your family, who cares? Like if somebody's just trying to live their life, a guy wants to wear a dress and change his name, so what?
Yeah.
Who cares? That's his life.
Yeah.
That good for him. How does that affect you? Well, I gotta see it. What do my kids think? Whatever. Like your kids watch a giant anthropomorphic sponge.
Yeah.
You know, like, whose best friend is like a squirrel in an astronaut suit.
We grew up watching, you know, Bugs Bunny dress up in drag all the time.
Yeah, and kiss Elmer Fudd. Like, yeah. And it was hilarious. I still haven't put on a dress.
Yeah.
Didn't make me want to put on a dress at all.
Yeah. And the few guys our age that did decide they want to put on dresses, I don't think Bugs Bunny made
Yeah,
them good. I don't think they saw Bugs Bunny and were like,
yeah,
look kind of fly on Bugs Bunny. I think it look great on me. You know?
Get that Bugs look. About that Bugs. But I don't know, man. It's like some people just like putting on dresses.
Yeah.
Like I don't know what determines it. It's not my business.
Yeah.
I'm not in the business of trying to learn the science behind dresses.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, and the thing is, like, even if you going at it from the Christian point of view, you know, because I am Christian, so for me, if it is something like, let's say that God is angry about it, which I mean, I just don't. But I'm not gonna speak on that, but I'm just gonna say, if he is, then that's between them and God. It's like, you know, it's like
were there dresses like in 3000 BC?
I'm pretty sure. Yeah, it's like I mean,
everybody wore dresses.
Yeah, exactly.
Everything was a dress.
Yeah, exactly.
They didn't have capris. They wasn't walking around in like the cradle of civilization and like Jinkos.
Like David beat the Gentiles in his Levi's.
Yeah. Wearing Wranglers. Like a man.
And not no skinny jeans either. Regular cut. Not the baggy kind either, because he wasn't a hoodlum. Just a regular straight leg pants jeans.
Boot cut. It's like we're like not that many years away from seeing Jesus dressed like the Marlboro Man. But I don't know. You just gotta let people live, man. Like it's a lot less stress on your heart, and it allows you to focus on things you do care about. For all the men listening, I challenge you to do this. Every time, this is what I do personally. Every time I want to post about something that I don't like, I stop myself. And I go and I post about something that I do like.
Yeah. Yeah.
Try posting about stuff you do like. Talk about things you like. everybody's so negative nowadays, and it just feeds all this negative energy. Like, stop talking about stuff you hate. Why? What does that do to you physically?
I saw something a post recently. Where it's almost like she was saying, and like people shouldn't be commenting in response to her disagreeing with her, and then so everybody's kind of like, all right, so you can disagree with somebody's post or comment, but we're not supposed to disagree with your post or comment. It was just I can't even really describe what it was because it was so confusing because you're sitting there saying like you just this whole post that you just made is a complete oxymoron. Like
Well,
this is like you just contradicted your whole idea within one post. Like you just completely contradicted yourself about like whether somebody has the right to post on something in disagreement with something.
well,
And it,
I understand that actually
yeah.
because I'm the same way. That's why I don't argue anymore
Yeah.
because when I say something, I'm right.
Yeah.
Okay, like there's no need to disagree with me. I said what was right. I'm the one that's right every time I post. So
Yeah.
like
Yeah.
there's no need for any disagreement from then on after I have spoken.
Yeah. Yeah.
So people don't usually realize that whenever I post
Yeah.
how right I am. So, I'd rather just not even waste the time with that anymore. So it's it's a matter of just self care.
Yeah.
Not dealing with wrong people all day. So, that's what it's all about. Take care of yourself.
Yeah.
For all the other people that are always right.
Yeah. Every time I see something online that I disagree with, I just before sometimes I'll start to write a comment and before I even finish it, I'm already thinking about all the different ways that people can possibly respond to this in argument, and I got to think about okay, then what I'm going to say in response to that. Then I think about this is going to take up a lot of time,
Yeah.
and so then eventually I just come to the conclusion I'd rather not, and I just erase whatever I was writing and I just move on.
Yeah. It used to always bring it out of me in a heated internet battle. I try to, say I was evolved and grown and above all of that. Like, I'm not gonna argue about, like, Barack Obama's policies or whatever crime Trump committed this week. I'm not gonna talk about that because I'm mature. But the one thing anybody could bring up that will just make me just go on writing essays in the comment sections. Takeover versus Ether. I will die on that hill. Ether is overrated. But now I've that's how evolved I am now. Like I won't even it'll hurt. It's like, I'll still get that twitch whenever I see a post in the like music groups about it, but I keep scrolling. And if I can do it, so
yeah,
can you.
yeah, yeah. Like we all got to find
That inner peace.
yeah.
You know what my last post was? It was about the Jay-Z Reasonable Doubt album. It was like had its 27-year anniversary.
Hmm.
That album is 27 years old.
Wow.
Yeah. Wow. 27.
Hmm.
And
Yeah.
it's like my favorite album. It's one of my like favorite albums ever. And I just posted about it. Hey, other people, what are your favorite songs on the album? And you know what? People interacted. They commented with their favorite songs. Why can't we all just talk about stuff we like together?
Yeah.
Like isn't that a world that you would rather be in other than people just being mad at everything, talking about how much they hate the same thing? But since we're talking in the nerd space now, they and I gotta say, a lot of people don't really like Superman because he's so overpowered. He's too invulnerable. Like nobody, you can't write a character that just has that much powers and no weaknesses. And I will say that some of those critiques are valid. Superman is a good character with the right writer.
Yeah.
With
Yeah.
because I guess the challenge with Superman isn't like a physical one necessarily.
Yeah.
The challenge is to continue to do the morally upright thing and stick to your rules.
Yeah.
And because like if you're somebody that can do anything you want,
Yeah.
what's stopping you from just doing whatever you want?
Yeah.
Right? Then that's like I guess the essential kind of dilemma with men, right? We're let's be real, we're in a patriarchy. We run things.
Yeah.
So, all you see it all the time. Men get away with all kinds of abuses of women and taking advantage of their position and stuff. So it's like, what's stopping you from doing that? You gotta have a code.
Yeah.
You have to have like your personal code you live by.
Yeah, and I think like I know for a long time I was not a fan of Superman until I think really the Justice League, specifically Justice League Unlimited.
Yeah.
The way they wrote him in that show really started making me see him differently. Then also there was like it was one of the straight to DVD movies, All Star Superman.
Yeah, I read the comic of that actually. Yeah.
Yeah, I remember that. I thought that was really good.
Yeah.
And I know one thing they said for a long time is that they've never really had a good Superman game.
Oh yeah, that Superman Returns, the game they made from that was actually pretty decent. Um, the mechanic they had in it was different. Superman doesn't have like a life bar or anything.
Yeah.
Like the city was like his life bar.
Okay, actually, funny thing is, that was what I was going to suggest for Superman game. I was going to say the city should be his life bar, but I guess somebody else already thought of that.
Yeah,
so,
yeah. If you I played it. It was interesting. It was okay. There was some stuff they could have improved upon a little bit, but they had the right idea.
Yeah.
And I mean, but other Superman game like Superman 64 is one of the worst games I've ever played.
Yeah.
Like I still remember how outraged I was flying through those rings. And just it's hard talking about it on this show because I can't use profanity and I can't say what I want to say. But it was a terrible game. Terrible game. Anyone who's played it can they're having a PTSD flashback.
Yeah, luckily I never really had a Nintendo 64, so I had limited experience with Nintendo 64 games. So I never played the Superman game. I managed to escape that one. Now there was one Superman game that was actually kind of fun. It was like you can't say that it was necessarily a great interpretation of Superman, but I still have fun playing it. It was like I think it was on. It might have been on Super Nintendo.
Death and Return of Superman.
Was it the arcade the side scrolling one?
Like a beat 'em up.
Yeah, side scrolling beat 'em up.
Yeah, that was Death and Return of Superman.
Yeah.
And it's hard to kind of and you playing as all the different Supermans on it.
I do not remember. I just remember being able to like grab people and throw them up against the wall.
Yeah.
And like you could throw them into the background wall, and that was the most fun that I had in the games. Like
you
can just like slam them into the wall. It's like
there was a while in that that era of the 16-bit gaming where all of the comic book games and stuff were just copy paste of like Double Dragon, and Final Fight and all of that, and Streets of Rage, like Superman, whatever. We just have him walk across and do a beat 'em up style. He can get punched by this random thug and get punched
hurt.
to death.
Yeah.
Yep. 2 lives left.
There was actually a Punisher game
Yeah.
I remember that one was fun too because
Yeah.
that was my first introduction to Nick Fury.
Yeah.
I had no
Yeah.
idea who Nick Fury was, but I just knew he used to play the two characters. So I was like, "That's who I'm playing." And whoever this Nick Fury guy was, then I think I didn't see Nick Fury again until he appeared in the Spider-Man comic or the Spider-Man cartoon, the
Yeah.
'90s cartoon. And I was like, "That's the same guy from the Punisher game."
Yeah. See, now they did make a Punisher game for, I think it was PlayStation 2, rated M. And I mean, it was crazy. Like, Punisher would do like these quote unquote interrogations of people. It was basically like torture.
Yeah.
It was like Saw, but the Punisher. You know, like he's and after he did enough power ups or whatever, you go into slaughter mode where he's basically invincible and just tearing people to shreds. But yeah, wild game, great childhood.
Yeah.
But yeah, back to Superman. They finally cast Superman, and I'm excited to see what they do with that. Finally, I think I'm excited to see the direction DC is going now that they're out of that whole bleak, depressing era.
Yeah.
So I think James Gunn is actually like a fan of the material and is, you know, I Zack Snyder put a bad taste in my mouth. I think he really should have been fired. Like when he did an interview before Batman vs Superman dropped.
Yeah.
And they were asking him, about his takes on the characters, what he would do and stuff. And you can look this up. Like he actually said this. Like he was going to do like an origin Batman story that that involved like when his training and stuff. Like before he became Batman, he goes to prison and is violated
Yeah.
in prison. And it's like, why would you these are children's characters, bro. Like
Yeah.
these these are children's characters. Like don't like yeah, we can enjoy them now. Like I can go as a grown man and watch them because they make them kind of middle of the road where adults and kids can enjoy it. But at the same time, like the kids who watch the Batman cartoon are gonna come and want to see this movie. They're not going to see Batman like no, no, Zach.
How it's like doesn't Batman have enough trauma to pick from?
For real.
Like you want to have traumatic things happen to him. He has like watching his parents get killed in front of him. That's not good
Losing
enough.
his surrogate son.
Yeah, like Jason Todd getting killed and not making it there in time. He's got
Yeah.
plenty of tragedy that you could pick from.
Yeah, let's not add like unnecessary things like have my 8-year-old in the crowd with her plushie like crying.
Yeah.
Daddy, what's happening to Batman? No. I don't want to have that conversation.
Yes.
But yeah, I think we're gonna I hope men, for all of you that were listening, I hope you got something from this. I hope you apply it in your everyday life. And yeah, we will catch you guys on the next episode.
Yeah. And shout out to Melanie Goldie. Hope you do great things in Atlanta. Also, for everybody who is worried, don't worry. I am going nowhere. Daddy is staying here, right in Savannah. Okay.
Shout out to all the Atlanta comedians.
Yeah.
Also, shout out to Nate, Derek, Islame,
Gabe,
Liv. Yep. Everybody, the whole gang. To the next episode.